Tell me I'm not good enough. Don't you bring me down. I'm moving up, and you're over now. You gave me fire every time you came around. My feet are steady on the ground. You won't knock me.
Hello everyone, I'm Glenn. Welcome to The Way Back. This is mine and Steph's YouTube channel that offers insight and inspiration to help you reclaim your life back from addiction and, all being well, to find your way back. This is Steph.
Hi friends, I'm Steph. Along with a YouTube channel, Glenn and I also share a sobriety date. It is the 17th of October 2016. We support each other and we keep each other accountable, and we're hoping that with these video blogs and interviews we can help you along your sobriety journey as well. So thank you for joining us. Today we have with us our good friend Audrey. Audrey has been on the same Facebook support group as us for some time now, and we're going to get into that. So I guess, Audrey, if you're ready, we'll just jump right into it.
Sounds good.
So glad you're with us today.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So tell us first, how long have you been sober?
I've been sober. I just celebrated 5 months at the end of May. So
Fantastic.
I'm into my 6th month now.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I guess start by telling us, when did you first realize you had a problem with alcohol?
I think I first realized I had a problem with alcohol, I want to say it had to been 5 years ago, at least. Because when you're drinking every day, you realize this is not right. I mean, people don't drink every day, and I think I really got heavy into drinking. Well, like I told you guys before, I started drinking when my son, bipolar, first reared its head when he turned 18 and went off to college, and I ended up having to bring him back home. And that brought on panic attacks and stress, and that's when I started to drink heavy, and that was in my early 40s. And it just progressively got worse from then. My mom became ill, and I drank my way the whole way through that. And that's pretty much when I started becoming a daily drinker at that point. Mm-hmm. And after she died, it just progressed on. I ended up, at that point, in an outpatient. I've never told you guys this. In an outpatient for 2 weeks. Okay. Nobody at work, everybody at work knew I was off work. They thought I had a nervous breakdown over my mother's death. They did not know I went in an outpatient rehab. My husband's insurance paid for it. And I stayed sober at that, because after I was out there, I was seeing a therapist like once a week. And at that point, I stayed sober, I want to say, for maybe 9 months, a year the most, and then started drinking again. And it was at that point, it was a slow ride back into alcohol, but I had an unhappy marriage, which, and I laugh now because I blame my marriage for my drinking, but when I got divorced, I still drank, so we all know that's a big lie you tell yourself. But I just continued to get heavier and heavier to the point where I ended up back to where it was. I mean, and my funny thing is I started out drinking wine, and then I moved to rum, and then I moved to tequila, and then I ended up, you name it, I moved through the alcohol. And then by the end, I was drinking vodka. But towards the end, you couldn't pay me to drink rum or wine because it tasted horrible. So I don't know why I switched my booze. But towards the end, I was drinking strictly vodka.
Wow. And what kind of, when it started, was it just sort of, I don't know what you'd kind of class like social sort of drinking volumes where you'd mix it or whatever, and did it progress to, like, how did the volume go? Was it just more and more?
I was your typical have a glass of wine on the weekend. To one glass of wine went to 2 or 3, to my then husband saying, "Gee, would you save a glass for me? That bottle's gone." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, sorry, you're not drinking fast enough. Drink faster, dude, or buy 2 bottles." But yeah, so it kind of went from 1 or 2 glasses on Friday or Saturday night to 1 or 2 bottles. Mm-hmm. On Friday, Saturday night, and wine gave me such a hell of a headache. I don't know what it was, that I just kind of moved away from it, because I never got near as bad a hangover from hard liquor than I ever did from wines. Mm-hmm.
See, I find this so interesting, and I know a few other people who've had a similar story. With and you can go more into detail about your drinking in your earlier years, but it seems a lot of us who end up with a problem with alcohol started drinking at 14, 15, and it became problematic fairly early, at least by 20s or 30s. But I have met a few people like yourself who say that the real drinking started in your 40s, and I just find that interesting. So what was your drinking like before that? I mean, or when did you start? I know Glenn just asked, like, what was your drinking before that, but like, did you start drinking as a teenager or in your 20s? Like,
yeah, actually, I did drink as a teenager. Back in those days, of course, the drinking age was like 18 in Wisconsin, and I lived in Illinois, and the Wisconsin border was 8 miles from us. So my brother, who was like 2 years older than I was, we were in high school at the same time. So we would drive across the border, Wisconsin. He was 18, so he would buy the booze. Me and my girlfriends, because one of them had a crush on him, and ended up being my sister-in-law. They're divorced now. We would all go up there. We'd load the car up with booze, and we'd road drink the whole way back. Mm-hmm. And that was back in the days before there was ever a DUI or whatever. If the cops caught you, they just pitched your booze and told you to go home. So yeah, I did drink in my teens. I drank probably not heavy. Drank up until like I was 20, and because I married my first husband when I was 20, and we had a party at our house on Labor Day weekend, and the neighbor next door made homemade schnapps. Well, I had a little too much of it, and I was sick for 3 days, and I did not drink once from there until the time I was like 27.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Really put you off.
Yeah, it was horrible. So I was a designated driver for all the drunks all those years, because my ex-husband was a huge boozer, and so were all his friends. So we go out. I was the one who drove. They all got loaded. And then when I started dating again, then I would drink socially. I mean, wine with dinner, but mainly I was a huge, like I am now, a huge coffee drinker back then. I didn't drink hardly at all, ever.
Yeah, I just find this so interesting, because I think we so often hear about people like ourselves who, will say that, like, I never had an off button. Like from the get-go, it was always just drinking to the point of, making an ass of yourself or passing out or blackouts. And so it's just interesting to me to hear a story like yours where, you really, you were put off that. I mean, we've all had those nights where you drank that much and got sick and didn't want to, touch it again. But it was the next weekend, you're like, man, it wasn't that bad, and back at it. But to not drink for, 7 years and then to sort of moderate and not be much of a drinker until later, that's interesting.
But I guess the problem's not there at that stage, is it?
Yeah.
No, but it showed up later, and it's in my family. As I said,
is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. My mom's dad was an alcoholic, and he drank himself into a stroke at 39. I don't know if 2 or 3 of her siblings were all alcoholics. Her brother, and 2 of her sisters were alcoholics, and my uncle, her brother, evidently he did something, and nobody, because I have one aunt left alive yet, none of them would ever say what happened, but something happened when he was drunk or whatever, and he never drank again. After that, whatever that incident was, he put the bottle down and never drank again until he got, I want to say, in his late 70s, and he would have a glass of wine once in a while, but he never picked it up. But all the word was ever mentioned, because you know how that generation is, they don't talk about their dirty laundry or whatever. Just there was some horrible incident that I don't know if he hit my aunt or what went on, but he never drank again.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and my brother has been sober now. I want to say it's been 5 years.
Excellent.
And he managed to stay sober through his son died at 21 of cancer, and he stayed sober the whole way through it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And he started drinking. Well, he was one who drove us when we went road drinking.
Yeah.
And he drank. He got up and started drinking, and the minute he got up, and he drank till the time he went to bed. He had bottles hidden everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with given your family history and the fact that you started drinking, quite sort of later in life, What was that? What was the thought process there when you started to drink? And you must have known you were drinking because of life circumstances, and you were kind of, drinking to, smooth the edges, that kind of thing. What was the thought process there? Were you
As far
thinking
as
you knew what you were doing, like given the family history, and was it like, I know I'm drinking in a way that's not healthy?
I didn't really think about the family history of alcoholism when I was drinking, because that wasn't really, I was more focused on what the issues and the problems that were going on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the heredity and the loaded gun, as they call it, wasn't even going through my head.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, when it got heavier and heavier, it's like, yeah, I know it's my background, and I know I'm probably prone to it. But by that point, you're already going down the hill, and you think, well, I'm already there.
Is that actually? I need to jump in with a quick question, just for my own benefit. Is it? I can't say this word. Hereditary. Is it? Is it alcoholism?
Well, that's up for debate. Sorry, Audrey, I'm just going to say what I have read, because I've done a lot of research on this, is that it's the scientific consensus is that it's about 50% genetic and 50% environmental, what you're exposed to. So But so there's
there's definitely something there that
right.
Yeah,
there is links.
With anything in genetics, you can have a genetic predisposition to something, for any disease, for example. But if you eat really healthy and you have a healthy lifestyle and you don't expose yourself to a lot of toxins, then those genetic predispositions will never be sort of turned on, so to speak, to cause a certain thing. So anyway.
It's interesting. I've never really given that a thought before until Audrey was talking, and it's wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, Audrey.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because the reason that comes up, because my son has a drug addiction and bipolar. And what happened was, when he was first diagnosed, they said to him, well, what side, does it all run on? Of course, it runs on my side of the family, because my family has all the great genes. But what they told him, as far as the drug addiction and because the drug addiction falls in line with the alcohol addiction, they told him genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger.
Right, yeah.
That's a perfect
That's how it was explained to us. So,
wow.
Yeah, no, that's
because I have siblings that are not, but I have a couple sisters that I know for a fact are alcoholics, but don't admit it to themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I guess that would explain too why, if you had a genetic predisposition, there weren't environmental factors in your life that caused that to be triggered until later.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of us, maybe it was earlier. I guess I kind of have always thought that it was my patterns of drinking from early on, because I was drinking quite heavily as a teenager and in my early 20s, because it was just the way everyone drank, the binge drinking. And I kind of thought that maybe, and there's probably a lot to this, a change in your brain chemistry because of what you're doing to your brain consistently, over time. But and I'm sure all these factors can contribute.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
just let's get back to,
yeah,
because I was really interested in that. So you spoke about your early drinking, and then you brought us through to sort of the middle drinking, where you went to sort of 2 or 3 bottles of wine, and then you said that progressed to spirits. What kind of volume were you up to then?
When I first started drinking spirits, I didn't drink a lot, because when you're switching from wine to the heavy stuff, there's totally a different alcohol content. So when I first started drinking the heavy stuff, I could hardly drink anything. I never did have a high tolerance for alcohol ever. They always say, well, the more you drink, the more you can drink. That was never me. I always had lower tolerance. So even at my end point, the most I could ever drink would be, and this would be on a heavy night, would be a half a bottle of vodka. I mean, I don't mean like a lug. I mean a normal size bottle of, what is it, like, is it 750?
750. Yeah,
normal size bottle. Yeah. That would be, if I drank a half a bottle of that would be the max I could drink.
That's still a lot of vodka.
It is a lot.
Well, yeah, still, but when you see people say, oh, I could drink a whole bottle of vodka a night, but that would be on a max night. Most nights it was like maybe a third of that, but a third of a bottle. But to most people who, they was like, oh, drink a bottle of vodka a day, or,
I can perfectly relate to what you just said there, Audrey, because in my before I moved on to the bottle, I did many years of just buying half a bottle every night, which that's 35 centilitres over here. So I guess it's similar, but we call it a half bottle. And you know, that for me, that would have been like 3 glasses of whiskey and coke. But yeah, although in alcoholic terms it doesn't sound a lot, it is still a lot of alcohol to stick in. You see, and you do it every night. Or I did it every night. Yeah.
Well, when you look at the government guidelines of what they consider to be acceptable for your health and to prevent, you know, addiction and that sort of thing, it's like, you know, I don't know what they've changed it to now, but it's a number of units in the UK and in the US they say it by a certain number of glasses. But I think I think right now they're saying for men it's 7 or 9 drinks a week, and for women it's like 5. I mean, that's like a night where I'm taking it easy. A night.
And the not when it over here when it says, I don't know what the true figure is, but let's just say it's 7 units or whatever it is. It's not like that's 7 pints of beer in the UK. It's like half a pint of beer.
Yeah, it is half.
And for ladies, it's like a glass of wine.
A small wine is a unit.
A small wine at that. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So most everyone overdrinks, but those of us who, when you say bottle of vodka or half bottle of vodka, to us it may not seem like a ridiculous amount. And when your drinking progresses over time and you do build a bit of a tolerance, it really isn't a lot.
No. When you get when you get to sort of your level.
But, well, and let me just clarify as well. I know I always say, like, you know, at my worst I was at a bottle of vodka a night.
Right.
Yes, at my worst, and that was a heavy night. I didn't always every single night for 5 years drink a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of vodka. It's just at my worst I could easily drink that much. I would pass out, I would be drunk, but I could manage that much. But probably most nights it was closer to a half, you know. Anyway. So
that progressed on to, so you were drinking sort of hard liquor at that volume every night then, Audrey?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. And so how long did that go on for?
That went on for, I want to say the last year and a half.
It's a long time, that. It's a long time.
Yeah, because it got to every day when you guys always heard me talk about my dogs, my 2 I lost last year. They were like my best friends, and they helped me get through my divorce and came with me when I moved out. And first Hannah got sick, and it was extremely stressful. She had to have medications twice a day. I had to put fluids in her back. She would have really bad times. I'd have to drive her into Chicago to a specialist, and she was an amazing dog, and it was really hard on her. So it was really hard on me. So I started drinking heavier to relieve the stress of that, because I knew she was dying.
Yeah.
And then she passed, and 5 days later, I found out Eddie was terminal, my other dog.
I remember that.
So that's when I got progressively worse. So that was when I first joined ONU. Was like a month, because I joined ONU I think in February of a year ago. So I've been on ONU a year ago this past February. So that's when I joined ONU and knew I needed to stop drinking, and progressively tried, and then he died in December, and that's when I said the first of the year I'm going to quit. Mm-hmm. And so I made a promise to him and to Steph and you guys and myself that I was going to do that, and I did.
Very important that when you can link it to something that means so much to you, because it gives you that extra, I don't know, motivation, willpower, whatever. Drive is probably the best word. Yeah. I really like that, because you've been through the mill there, Audrey, love.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I just want to I just want to go back a little bit, because I do remember when that happened, and I want to get to that a little in more detail next. But I want to go back to when you. I guess you said about 5 years ago when you first realized it was a problem, and then you joined the online support group. But what attempts at control drinking did you start at that point? What sort of were you trying to moderate? Because you knew it was a problem. Were you measuring?
I never even tried to moderate ever.
No.
I know myself better than that. I mean, it's just like, because I went through that when I tried to quit smoking all those years ago. I tried the cutting back. I tried the gum. I mean, I know myself. I'm an all or nothing person, so I never went through the whole, let me try just doing a glass a night or, I never went through any of that BS. I know myself better than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
think
you're similar to Glenn in that way. And I remember when you were, sort of, you were on the group and you didn't really, from what I remember, it's not like you were always trying like week after week, like, this is, it was like, I need to come to this in my own time. Because I remember having some conversations with you, and you were like, I'm here, and being here and listening to people and being a part of the group is, getting me to the place where I need to be when I'm ready to make that decision, but I'm just not ready to make that decision yet. And when I get there, I will do it. And I remember your journey from when I started. And, so tell us about when you finally made that decision.
So what day is it? The 1st of Jan, is it? 1st of year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last conversation we had before you quit, but tell us about when you made that decision to quit.
I made that decision probably at least a month before. I knew at Thanksgiving that the end of the year would be it, and so at that point I started mentally getting myself psyched for it, and I knew in my head that when I quit, it was going to have to be it for good. That it was not, hey, I'm going to just quit for 2017 and, that's one
See how
year.
it goes.
Yeah. So I started with just listening. I've always listened to everybody on the group, and I watched people who would start and do I won't name names, but people who would do really well, and they got like 2 months in and only to fall and never make it back.
Yeah.
They would get like 2 good weeks in, and then they'd fall, and then just watching those examples and just putting that all in my head, watching the people who succeeded and kept going, and what was different between them and the people that had a good grip and then dropped it and could not get the grip back.
Yeah.
Because other people talked about, I know if I pick up again, I don't, like you've said, Glenn, I don't know if I have it in me to do it again.
Yeah.
So I watched all that. So that last month I kept thinking about all those things and knew in my head I had to get myself totally psyched to the place where this would be the big push, the final drive. I had determination, the mindset totally had to be there. So I got my son down for Christmas, and then after that I had a couple drinks on New Year's Eve because I knew that was going to be it. Went to bed early, woke up January 1st, said, this is it. I had my first week, of course, the first week I had to pick Eddie up like my second day sober, and of course I texted Steph on the way home to make sure I was going home straight home, and I just went from there. I have to say, I know my beginning journey was not an easy one. I suffered through a lot of cravings, even though the mindset was there and I wanted to quit, but I was hell or high water. I'm freaking doing this.
It is hard, isn't it? It really is.
Oh, it is. It sucks.
It is, yeah.
It's tough.
I remember the conversation we had before you quit. It was a video chat, and I don't even know if you remember it, because you'd had a few drinks, and that's the night you promised me that, I'm drinking now, but I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be in the new year, New Year's. That's when I'm gonna do this, and I listened, and I have to admit I was not completely convinced. It's but you absolutely proved that all that determination in your voice and everything that you said you were going to do, you did it. You absolutely did it, and you didn't just do it on your own. Like you said, I'm going to do this, and how I'm going to do it is on my way home as I'm headed past the liquor store. I'm going to text you, and I'm going to reach out, and I'm going to post on the group, and you did everything you said you were going to do. And as you said, you watched people who went before you who managed to get sober, and you watched what they did, and you followed what they did, and
what we did wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So well done, Audrey.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It really is. It's really inspiring, actually,
It is.
because obviously I know it's 5-6 months and whatever, and I'm going to say you kind of nailed it. We all know we're only a drink away. We get that.
Well, we do know that.
But I think we can forget that a little bit, and celebrate, what you've done. I mean, that is, I mean, you've been through the mill, all this other stuff in your life. And I think you're very similar to me, where, like, why I'm saying this is when Steph was just saying then that you were drinking and having these conversations, a lot of people would say to you, well, just pour that away and stop now. I could never do that. You know, it was pointless. I was like, just leave me alone. I'm getting my shit together, even though I'm drinking. And
Right.
I'm building all this up. And yeah, I'm very similar to you in that respect, Audrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you draw a line in the sand, you set your day, and then all being well, you do it.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Really
You
good.
did, and
Really good.
I have always been and still am so proud of you.
Yeah, it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No. And like we said, I think the notion people don't understand how hard it is to quit, and it is hard. It's worth every minute of the work. We all know that. But it's hard for people in the beginning when it's really, really hard and the cravings are coming and you have to just fight your way right through them and keep going. If that mindset's not there and that determined, like you said, where you have to want to be sober more than you want to drink, that's when it gets you.
Yeah.
And if you're not focused and you're not prepared and you don't listen and hear what other people have been through and pay attention to that and get that message, then you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Len, like you always say, there's a blueprint that all the people who have been successful follow.
Yeah.
And if you read what those people have done and pay attention to everything they've said, you will succeed, and that is correct.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking to a member of the group the other day, and who's struggling, and he was saying how, you know, all the determination that we talk about was there. It was, I want to quit. I'm so unhappy with this cycle, and but then there was that. But whenever I go a few days without, or, you know, I start to feel like I'm missing out, or when I think I'm going to quit and this is it, I feel like there's something I'm missing out on. And we talked about that, you know, you have to reach a point where you look at the benefits of drinking and the benefits of not drinking, and the scales have to go this way. You have to realize that everything you get from sobriety is so much more than what alcohol has to offer you. You know,
you've also got, sorry for butting in, you've also got to realise, and I think it's really important for people who are just setting out on the journey, that after a week to 10 days, they're going to feel great. Yeah, and you do get that feeling of, do you know what? I've done 10 days. I can drink again. And it's quite difficult, that, because you get that, it's like a euphoria feeling, you know. And it's just, but I think, as Audrey and Steph's saying there, you have to be aware that feeling's coming, and just go and just enjoy it for what it is. But don't make it part of thinking that you're fixed or you can take or leave your drink. And I think a few people go wrong, you know, and just, you know, that wasn't too bad. And as you say, these people, then they fall back down the rabbit hole.
And some never make it back out.
Yeah. Can I just speak on that as well? Because you mentioned that earlier, and I find that subject really interesting, because obviously we've been on groups for a long time, and there's definitely a set blueprint to quit, as I think we could all agree. You've got, as you've just said, Audrey, you've got to map it out and you've got to stick to it, and it's bloody hard work. But if you do that, you will stay sober, and as time goes by, it will get easier and easier. But when people are not prepared, you see, and we've seen this many times on the groups, where, as you said, they'll do a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then they'll either just disappear without saying a thing, and then they'll come back in maybe a month's time and go, I blew it, guys, and I'm drinking worse than ever. Or you get the person who, and I was like this as well in the early days, where you start making crazy videos on how great everything is, and you've got this, and, you know, and hashtagging everything that I am great. You know, I did that. And it's like, and you're not actually great, but you think you are, you know, and then that person, again, just disappears off the face of the earth. There's not even a reaching out moment usually. You know, sometimes there's no, look, guys, I'm really struggling, what do I do? It's just, this person's making videos and posting, and then it just stops like that. And I think it all just relates to not knowing the big picture of what it actually involves before you start. But trying to get that message over is difficult, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's not easy, is it?
Yeah.
So
I'll shut up now, sorry.
No, that was good. That was really good.
Well, people don't like to do hard work. I mean, it's just a part of human nature. There's some people that are extremely stubborn and will do whatever it takes. I'm one of those people. You guys are those kind of people. And there's some people that want the easy way. I mean,
Yeah.
and this journey is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. You, I don't want to offend anybody, but you just have to have some balls and dig in and do it. I mean, there's going to be some shit days. There's going to be some amazing days. You can be going along, and like me, I still, at over 5 months, still get cravings sometimes, and I'm sure that'll probably continue to go on. But you get to the point, the farther you go along, it comes through your mind. You think, I've got this much time, and why would I throw it out the window for a thought that rolls through my mind? Because as time goes on, it becomes a thought.
Totally.
And if I would have weaned out at 2 weeks in because, oh man, this is just too tough for me, I don't want to do this, it's easier just to pick up that alcohol and go sit on the couch and drink and get buzzed than deal with this, hour of uncomfortableness, maybe 2 hours, whatever. Okay, it goes, it passes. You just got to hang on to it. I mean, it does go away. I mean, you just have to realize that, and you just got to suck it up, I guess is how I would put it, you know?
We always use that phrase, warrior mode, but it's really true. You've got to fight.
Yeah.
What was your method of that, Audrey? Were you one of those who had to, in your early days, did you have to kind of leave the house if you were craving, or could you sit there and just focus on it and think it through?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I was a home drinker, so I did 90% of my drinking at home. So in the early days, fortunately, work really picked up for me. So I ended up working late a lot. When I got home, normally in my drinking days, the minute I walked in the door, I would pour myself a drink. I mean, the minute I got in the door, the first thing I did was pour myself a drink. So I would, of course, in the beginning, I would text Steph and let her know I was leaving. And then when I would get home, I would start doing stuff right away. Something, anything. It didn't matter what it was, anything else, to keep myself busy. So my method was keeping myself busy at all times, whether it was working late or making a nice, healthy dinner because I changed my diet at the same time. And just anything. And if I started to have cravings, I would either get on the Facebook group and start reading through posts and posting, or read one of my books, take a nice hot bath. But I left myself in my environment because my environment was where I drank, and I knew I had to get over that.
Yeah.
Because, so now with my new house, there will never be any alcohol in my new house. My new house is a whole new environment. There's no memories of alcohol here. So I know people are pushing me to have a housewarming party. And I suppose if I did, I would have to have alcohol for that, but I can send it home with everybody. And they all know I don't drink because, as you guys saw, my housewarming gift, it was bottled water, flavored drinks, coffee, a coffee cup, because they all know me as a non-drinker now, so that's not an issue anymore. But so it was, just busier I kept myself, the easier it was. I think it's those moments where you sit there by yourself and allow your mind to roam. It's when it sneaks up and grabs you in the ass.
Yeah. Well, it's all those uncomfortable, those uncomfortable feelings and thoughts that we used to medicate, especially doing it on, habit, like come home from work, first thing is a drink. And when you just are so, those habits are so ingrained in your mind, then to not have that crutch and to have to just sit and think what a crappy day you've had or feel whatever feelings you're having and don't have that option of going and grabbing something, you have to learn to sit and feel your feelings, and it's hard sometimes.
It's horrible.
Yeah, because I had one of the girls say to me, what was it? Oh, yesterday at work, one of the girls said to me, it's been really stressful at work, and I mean really stressful. And normally I just come home and I have a cup of coffee, which is not good for sleep at 7 o'clock at night. But she said to me yesterday, she says, I was thinking about you last night when I got home. She says, because we had such a stressful day, and I came home and had a drink. And she said, I thought about you. She said, what do you do now that you don't drink anymore to relieve stress when you get home at night? I just can't imagine what you do, because I had to go home and have a drink last night because I was so stressed out, and you don't drink. She said, what do you do? I said, well, I guess I didn't really even think about that. I said I go home and have a cup of coffee or throw the ball in the yard with Bryn. I said, I don't know. I don't even think about it.
You deal with it, don't you? You just deal with it.
I guess. Yeah. She's like, but she felt bad for me because well, you couldn't go home and have a drink. Well, number one, I don't think of it that way anymore. I've moved on from that, which I didn't even realize that until she posed that question to me yesterday. I thought, I've come farther than I thought I have.
Yeah.
But I just, I thought, man, yes, work is stressful, but going home and having a drink is not the answer.
Aren't those
It would have been
moments
for
great,
me
though?
last year at this time, but
Yeah.
not now.
But those moments when you realize how far you've come, it's
Yeah.
such an awesome feeling when you, like, I've had some stuff going on recently, and just to kind of to step back and see myself reacting and responding to the situations the way I do now, and thinking I never would have acted that way a year ago, 6 months ago. I would have been completely different in how I dealt with these normal life stresses, right? And then to see yourself having come that far, it's such an amazing feeling.
It's like,
Yeah.
And also, I can really relate to what you both just said there, but especially the work side of it, because where my previous job, it was quite stressful, and I did exactly the same as you, Audrey. I would come home in shirt and tie, and without even taking my shoes off, I'd pour a drink. Excuse me, it's just habit. But excuse me, I do apologise. But yeah, this is the point I wanted to make. But there was people at our place who did well. There were drinkers and non-drinkers. But when I stopped drinking, the benefit I found instantly was that they went home after a really stressful day, had a drink, and I'm not saying they had a problem with it, but just had drinks to start to numb it, to feel better, and it totally shut the work down. But as soon as they wake up, when the alarm goes off the next morning, they're not prepared for that next day. Whereas the person who's not drinking goes home, processes it, deals with it in the head, puts it in the different compartments, and when they get to work, like yourself, you're ready to go again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a massive bonus for people. It really is. It just makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now.
No. I don't know why this just occurred to me with what you were saying. It occurred to me the other day that I haven't had a massage in a really long time. I used to go every single month, and I had so much tension in my shoulders, I did just knots, right? And I mean, I do yoga now and I exercise and whatever, but I just don't have that stress anymore. I used to need to get a massage because I just got to a point where I was in excruciating pain from the stress in my neck and shoulders, and I don't get headaches anymore. I just don't have that stress anymore. Anyway. So back to after getting sober, what are your number one tools? You talked about sharing on the group if you needed to, and going outside with your dog, throwing the ball, that sort of thing. What are some of the other tools that you've used specifically, like books you've read or people you've followed?
I'm trying to think. I've read, they're on my bookshelf because I'm done reading them. What have I got? I've read Kick the Drink Easily by Jason Vale. I've read This Naked Mind, of course, because a bunch of us have read the one. Alcohol Lied to Me by Craig Beck. That was an excellent one. I started the 30-Day Sobriety Solution by Jack Canfield and Dave Andrews, but I wasn't really thrilled with that one.
Okay.
And there's more to quitting drinking than quitting drinking. So I've read all those. I make sure, another thing I do, I'm like with you, Steph, I make sure I take healthy vitamins every day as a part of keeping my brain healing itself.
Mm-hmm.
I did buy myself the thing where you can put the essential oils in.
Oh, a diffuser.
Yeah, and so I did buy that for the new house, and the aromatherapy, and I put that on at night when I get home to make it more relaxing in the house. And I'm learning just to de-stress. Yeah. Like I told you, one of my biggest things I think that helps is I have the TV off for hours, where there's no noise in the house, there's nothing. It's complete quiet. Yeah. And that is so helpful because it's totally distressing. There's no noise, it's quiet, it's just Bryn and I can think, I can process everything. It takes so much stress off.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's my biggest help.
So you mentioned your new house, and by the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So that was kind of leading me into the next question of how your life has changed.
Yeah, well, I had been wanting to buy a new house. I was going to buy it I thought about it last year, but I had spent a lot of money on getting Hannah on her and her health problems, and so I decided last year I wasn't going to do it because, of course, I was spending a lot of money on alcohol. And so when I quit drinking at the first of the year, I thought about it again because, in the States, interest rates were going to start going up here. And my house that I have right now went on the market last year, but it went on the market for a lot more money. And so, but I thought, well, there's no way I'm paying that for a 2-bedroom house. And the sign went down, so I thought I'd gotten sold. So I want to say beginning of March, a sign went back in the yard again, and this time was offered for a lot less money. And I thought to myself, I really like this house. I drive by it every day on my way to work. So I decided, I'm not drinking now. I have put more money into the bank. I don't plan on ever drinking again, so I have the extra money I need because it's just a little bit more than my rent. Not much. It's unbelievable that a house payment can be the same as your rent, but if you have dogs, you pay a lot more to have them on your apartment. So I thought, okay, this is my commitment to myself that I'm never going to drink again. This reaffirms my decision that I'm not drinking again because I could never drink and afford a house. So it was a re-verification to myself that my life is starting over and I'm doing my new journey. I mean, because this is my reboot. At the beginning it was a reboot, my start over in my life. And so I thought, okay, so I looked at it and I made them an offer for less than what they're asking for it, and they took it. So to me, that was like, okay, I offered them a lot less than they took it, and I thought, okay, and they took it. Okay, there's my sign from God. Okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's just like everything is kind of like fall since I quit drinking, and I'm sure I don't know if it's because I quit drinking or because I've decided to totally change my life all at the same time, that everything's falling into place. But it's just like, and it's nice. I feel like I'm settled now. I have my own home. I'm feeling better about myself. It's like you make all, I don't know if you're necessarily making all the wrong decisions when you're drinking, or if you feel like you're making the wrong decisions when you're drinking, or I don't know. It's just like as you guys have said, when you quit drinking, your whole life shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. It's, being stuck in addiction, you're stuck, and so you're probably stuck in all areas of your life. But just the amount of energy and time and that goes into drinking, it's a lot of work, especially if you're trying to control how much you're drinking. But it's still just a lot of work. It's tiring, and it's the hangovers, and it's exhausting to live that way. And once you're free of that, it's like, wow, I've got all this time, I've got all this energy, I'm sleeping better, I feel better. It kind of propels you into a place where you can change your life in so many other ways. And the momentum of being sober, you want to change everything else as well. It all goes together in such a great way. And that's what makes it so sad for people who are stuck in that place. They can look on the other side and they see that life is there. I mean, I always imagine myself as being that person who gets up early in the morning and gets stuff done and goes to the gym, and I wanted that. I just didn't know how to get it.
Yeah.
But once you do, your life changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hell getting up. Oh, God, I can't remember what it's like to get up with a hangover, man. And I used to get up with a hangover every day and go to work and work full time. And like you, superwoman, go to work, excelled at work every day.
Yeah.
Don't know how I did it, but I guess I'm one of those crazy people like you. Or you just, hey, Wonder Woman, let's just get it done. Just
I don't know
amazing.
about you, but I feel like the difficulty in that of feeling so shit in the morning, but managing to kind of be everything for everyone and do everything is perfectly, gave me a lot of strength. I felt so weak because of the addiction I was suffering with, but at the same time, just getting past that beginning bit and realizing like, wow, I'm a stronger person than I ever thought. And I think that living through the addiction actually gave me a lot of strength. It's not an easy way to live.
No, my God, no, it's not.
Yeah. So tell us, what are you most grateful for today?
What am I most grateful for today? I know I'm grateful for. I've always been a grateful person because I just feel blessed in my life. Because it just irritates me when people are not grateful, because we all have things we should be grateful for. I think I'm most grateful for the fact of finding all you guys, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I would still be drinking. I know that for a fact. So I'm most grateful for people like you guys. I mean, because I would, I know, but it's so true. I would still be drinking without you guys. I would still be in my apartment right now, nursing a hangover, probably starting drinking again, probably because on the weekends I would start drinking earlier. Probably I would start drinking by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's where I would be right now.
Yeah.
I would not be in my new home. I would not be talking with you guys up early, feeling great. No, so I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for you guys.
Well, we're grateful for you as well.
Yeah, you're truly a gift.
Oh, so
Oh.
are you.
And you should know that. And you should appreciate yourselves. I mean, you're amazing. I
Well,
truly believe that.
I'm sat here completely inspired by you for the last half an hour or hour, whatever it's been.
Absolutely.
Are you feeling the same, Steph?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, Audrey's always been an inspiration to me, and
Well, but I only know Audrey from little posts and odd conversations. That's the first time I've heard it in one hit.
no,
But
I've
I'll tell you what, Audrey, your face should be on buses as a campaign, a blueprint of how to stop drinking to do it properly, because what a hell of a story that is.
I've
Oh,
drawn
thank
a
you.
lot of strength from her over the
Yeah.
time that I've been, even before she quit drinking, but definitely once she started her journey as well. I'm talking about you like you're not here. You've been a huge inspiration.
I'm just an ordinary person who just took what you guys gave me. I mean, I learned from you two. I mean,
and we learn from others. It's just
right.
That's
It's just
the thing,
it's
isn't it?
right.
It's just, we all, I
Right.
suppose we all give, don't we? Or we all take and give from each other.
Right, we all learn from each other, but if you weren't out there putting your information out there, then it's not there to help anybody. You know what I mean? So if we're not all out there sharing and giving our wisdom, and people can, like we've always talked about, take what works for you and scroll by the rest. If you don't like tough love, and it doesn't work for you, it does for me. Then don't read it. I mean, but everything you need to get sober is there, and I'm living proof of it.
You certainly are.
Yeah, I mean, I sat for how many months? I started reading in February, and I read and followed and paid attention all those months, and then it's almost a year before I even started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, likewise, you telling your story is going to help so many people. It just
Definitely.
we get messages from people who we've never met before saying, just watching these videos have really helped us. And
I would actually keep butting in. I'm sorry, but I would actually, if I was messaged through YouTube about what's the best way to stop, your video would be the first one now, Audrey, because you've just said everything perfectly. Absolutely cock on that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So if we could end with my favorite question. So what is, Audrey, what is your favorite quote that has helped you in getting sober and staying sober?
Keep quitting till you quit.
That's a good one.
That is my absolute favorite one. And my second one, if I had two, my second one is yours, Steph. You have to want to be sober more than what alcohol has to offer you.
Yeah.
Those are my two favorites.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally agree with you as well.
Well, thank you, Audrey. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate it. I've been really looking forward to this because I so wanted to get your story out there and talk to you like this, and it's been great. Thank you.
And a massive thank you from me. I'd love to give you a big hug now, because that was really, I'm blown away with that. And as I say, I'll watch this again straight after once it's uploaded, because that was awesome. That's how to do it. Just watch that. That's how to do it. Simple as that.
I think that's what I'll name this one.
The
blueprint,
totally.
how to get sober.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.